craft nerds, how's it going? So hopefully you've seen my previous video of me putting together my lantern. There's a lantern parade every year here in Belgrave, which isn't that far from me, and it's to celebrate winter solstice. And if you're not sure what winter solstice is, it's the shortest day of the year, so it's celebrating the fact that that's the coldest part of winter, that you're over the halfway mark, I guess, of winter and starting to head towards spring. And yeah, it's a lovely parade that they have every year, and anyone can be in the parade. You know, you don't have to sort of do anything difficult to get in or anything like that. You just show up with something that lights up, and in fact some of the kids just walk in the parade just because they want to, and have a ball doing it. A lot of people come out for the parade. There's all sorts of little events, live music, food trucks. The shops will open up a lot of the time. The restaurants obviously are all buzzing, and there's like after parade events and that sort of thing that'll happen as well. If I seem a bit flat today, I said this in another video I just filmed before this one. I haven't been too well today, but I'm determined to film because I've had the flu. I've had the flu twice now. I'm behind on my videos and trying to catch up, and there's ones that I just really want to share with you guys. So yeah, anyway, the parade was fantastic. I was really worried that we weren't actually going to make it to the parade, to be honest. I was, checking the weather beforehand, and it was saying that, like we did have rain, but it was saying that the rain was meant to ease off by that time, and the chance of rain, like the Bureau of Meteorology, BOM as it's affectionately called by us, is good at sort of telling you the percentage chance of rain. And the percentage had dropped from it being about 40% down to 20%. So, you think, oh, well, it'll at least ease off or whatever, but it just wasn't. It was flat out raining, and, I had the flu. That was when the flu was sort of starting. Probably not the best idea to go out at night in the rain in a parade, but I'd done all that prep, and I would have been really upset if I couldn't go. So if there was any chance to go, I was going to try and go. But, so I was sitting there texting Jen saying, what are you doing? Are you going? And then I was saying, oh, it's raining. And we were both like, oh, so upset, saying it was raining, and thinking, I was thinking, oh, I don't know if I can go, because I made this paper lantern and it's gonna get wrecked. Plus it's winter and raining, and there was no way I could have an umbrella over the top of the deer head like that. Obviously, when you see the footage, and you've probably seen some of it, it was never going to happen. So I felt a little bit like, I don't know, Cinderella before the ball. I had my ball gown on, because if you've seen the outfit, it did have like this big ball gown style skirt that went with it, that was like white with sort of an iridescent blue shift to it, all the flowers and everything all lit up. And so I got sort of half dressed and, took some photos of myself in the studio, and I thought, oh, okay, maybe I'm just going to have to film myself in my studio in the outfit, and that's going to be it. I won't get to the parade or whatever. And it was only at the really last minute, like Dan kept asking me, what do you want to do? Do you want to go? And it was easing a bit, and I said, you know what, Jen's there. She messaged and said she'd gone already, and so she was going. So, and the rain was easing. I thought, yeah, let's do it. So we raced around. I grabbed all of the bits and pieces for the outfit. You should have seen it, like Dan couldn't see out of the back window basically, because like the dress was this huge mound of ruffles and everything, and then obviously the huge lantern as well. And we were running late, and it's so busy, so many people go to the lantern parade, it's like packed. And they always say catch the train, don't try and drive up there because there's no parks. But I had a massive lantern, massive outfit, there was no way I could catch a train with all of that. So yeah, we drove up. We were lucky, we found a spot that I'm not even sure if it was technically a spot, but we made it work. And it was getting muddy and everything. I pulled out all my bits and pieces, and everyone was already lining the streets for the parade, and there was this sort of meeting point that I had to get to. So one of us had the lantern and one of us had the skirt, and we just went barreling down the centre of the road where the parade's actually going to be held, because there was nowhere to walk or no other way to get to the meeting point. And you know, we were running late, so it looked hilarious, like it was drizzly still, and like here I am running with this massive deer head lantern, you know, and obviously people could tell like I was going to be in the parade and trying to work out what the costume was, because like the deer head you could kind of understand, but then here's this big skirt coming alongside of this big, well, it didn't even look like a skirt, it just looked like a big poof of material. Jen was already there, so we've come racing in. Luckily I could spot her because I could see her lantern, so that was fine. And got there, started to get ready. There was this lady who I think was one of the helpers, and she was trying to be really helpful, and in some ways she was really helpful, but she was sort of very hands-on as well, jumping right in straight away, like while I was trying to put the skirt on and trying to put it on for me and stuff like that. And as all that's happening, I've realised, because the way the petticoat is designed, it's got like a drawstring, and must have been as I was running, the drawstring has kind of gotten stuck and lost in the skirt, and it's too difficult to get in there and get it out. Like it would have taken, you know, I don't know, it would have taken a lot of time and precision to get it back out, and we didn't have that time. So this lady that was like helping was, I mean, I'm glad she did jump in, because otherwise I don't think it would have worked out what to do. She's like, oh, we'll dig a hole in the skirt, and she's pushing a hole into the petticoat so that we could put 2 holes, get the drawstring, tie it up, you know, somewhere else, like just get the 2 ends and sort of put a hole and tie it up. So she's gouging a hole, and I didn't realise, but she was using my glasses, like, because she held, like, I was taking my glasses off to get, you know, the lantern on my head, and I had Jen, my husband, and this lady, and it was all a bit of a flurry because it was about to start, and I guess I must have handed it to her, or someone did, I can't remember. And so she's using the arm of my glasses, which are expensive frames, like Prada frames, you know, just and my only pair of glasses, so like if they break, I'm in trouble. I have to go get some new glasses. I only need them for distance, but still, you know, I feel a bit lost in the woods if I'm walking around without being able to see too far in the distance. So anyway, my husband's like got his keys out instead, and he's like using that to jab in. And we finally got the skirt on, and then she was still trying to like help me, and like I had lights and stuff, and I had to sort of say no, all good, because like I knew how to put it together. I knew where the lights were. I knew where things were, and she was sort of grabbing at things, and I was like, oh no, because I was getting a bit flustered at that point and thinking, when someone's they're helpful, but they're very handsy, and they get right in and everything, and you're like, no. I mean, I'm so glad she did jump in, because again, I was flustered, racing, and wouldn't have thought how to put the skirt on. I wasn't really sure what to do. But yeah, I was getting really flustered. Anyway, got it all on, got the helmet on, the sort of lantern headdress or whatever you want to call it, and finally ready for the parade to begin.
For 1 second, sir, so you have a wonderful, lovely evening. It is all happening, ladies and gentlemen. This is so exciting. I'm going I'm surprised I haven't fallen over yet. So this is a true wonderful, ladies and gentlemen. It is all happening. This is so exciting. Oh, I'm seeing some amazing lanterns. I think I saw the very hungry caterpillar.
Yeah, so anyway, we got there. I got all kitted up. I had everything on, and so that was really good, and it was just in time for things to start moving. And they at first got us to sort of go up and around through the car park before we got to the point where we started the actual parade. And I could not see for the life of me. I tried really hard to make it, make some eye holes, make it so I could see, because obviously I knew that was going to be an issue if I couldn't see. So on my deer head, where the nostrils are, I ended up cutting those out and putting mesh in there. The underside of the face I cut out and put mesh there. So I had a bit of a frame of reference for what was at my feet, what was right in front of me, and to a point I could see out of the nostrils, but you had to really kind of line up that hole to what you wanted to see. It wasn't a very broad range of vision. I had no way to see out the sides, so that was just out of the question. I could only really see, I had tunnel vision, very pinpoint tunnel vision. So it was like, and night blind, because I had the lights on. Luckily it's a lantern parade, so if there was light in front of me I could see, and that sort of thing. But like, I did panic when I first put it on, and I was like, I can't see, Jen like this. Because if I lost her, trying to find her again was really hard, because I could only see out here and out here, so it was like, really difficult to work out what was going on. She was so good, because like, without her I would not have been able to get through this parade. I would have just had to sort of maybe take the head off and like hold it, which I can do, but it just wouldn't have been the same, because it was a whole, outfit or whatever.
Can you walk up this side near the road so I can see it right over there?
So yeah, she's like, when you see footage of me almost looking a bit like a like royalty, being led through that's just literally because I couldn't see a goddamn thing, and so she was helping me through everything. So that was challenging, and so it was a very different experience. Like, it was so cool, but also, you know, I couldn't hear very well through it, and I couldn't see much of anything. So, you know, Jen was sort of almost commentating for me, and she'd be saying, there's a great lantern up there that looks like XYZ, and I'd try and point my little nostrils at it so I could see what this thing was. And then she'd be saying, "Oh, there's Dan taking photos," and it was so funny because, like, I just thought Dan would take some photos as we passed, and then film the rest of the parade. He was there with the camera because obviously there was no way for me to film myself. And you know, so I said, "Yeah, try and get some footage for me so I can share it." And then next thing I know, 5 minutes later, Jen's like, "Oh, there's Dan again, taking more photos." And I was like, "Oh, wow." You know, and every little step we took, Jen would be like, "Oh, there's Dan." And I was like, "Oh, wow, that's awesome." So he was basically following us up with the camera, filming us and filming everything. was a really awesome parade though, and you know, it is so much fun to make a lantern. Even if it's just, you know, for a light fitting. Jen got right into it, so she thinks she's going to make some more lanterns now, and I'm not sure if I will yet. I mean, I'm always on to the next thing really, aren't I? So I think I'd like to. I would definitely like to. It's just having the time, and I'll need to find out where to get all of the materials. I think there's a place nearby that sells it, or on eBay. I got mine from the class that I did, so that was, yeah, really helpful. But yeah, and I think at the end of it, once the parade was over, there was all these people taking photos, and that lasted so long. We hadn't eaten dinner either, and I had a few local papers taking photos, and you know, they took my name, so I knew it was like for a paper and things, and then, you know, I'd get a few steps and someone would be like, oh, can I take a photo? And, you know, so of course I wanted to let people take photos, and then had little kids coming up and, you know, checking it out, and people asking questions, and it was so lovely. And then you get a little bit further and someone else would take a photo. So it took us a little while to get to back to the car, and then after that we all went out to dinner. And it was funny because like right towards the end there was this restaurant, and like they couldn't see a lot of what was going on, I guess, and like suddenly I've walked around the corner and there's this big window and all these people sitting there and their mouths just dropped, and they've all just like gone, oh, like this, get the camera out, and like, you know, kind of all standing up. Everyone but virtually in the restaurant stood up to come to the window, and I'm just like sorry. Oh, that was pretty funny. I wish I had my camera out at that time, because just the reaction was just, it was hysterical. So yeah, look, it was a fabulous night. The lantern's now up in my studio as a light feature, so I'll get a bit of footage of that once I'm done here, so that I can show you guys what it looks like. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little video of us in the Lantern Parade, and if you haven't already, have a look at the actual making of the lantern. It's not a full instructional video because it's such a complex design that it would have been too much to try and explain how it's all done. But you know, if you're ever thinking of making a lantern, have a look at the concepts and give it a go, because it's lots of fun. So alright, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Make sure you do hit subscribe. I have tons of things that will be coming. As always, lots of creative things, lots of fun, lots of inspiration hopefully, and all of that stuff. So I'll see you next time. Bye, craft nerds.